Hey there, have you ever thought, why doesn't the government just print more money and make us all rich? Sounds like the easiest solution, right? No more poverty, no more debt, everyone walking around with pockets full of cash. But here's the shocking truth. If governments started printing money endlessly, the economy would collapse faster than you can imagine. In this video, we'll explore why printing unlimited money doesn't work, real-world disasters where countries tried it, why governments prefer borrowing instead, when printing money can be useful, and what happens if a country tries to pay off debt with printed cash. Stay tuned, because this is the kind of economics lesson that could change the way you look at money forever. When people hear printing money, they imagine giant machines rolling out stacks of cash. That's partly true, but there's a bigger picture. In today's world, money isn't just paper notes. Over 90% of global money exists digitally, in bank accounts, reserves, and numbers on a screen. When a government needs money, its central bank has two choices. 1. Physically print currency notes and release them into the economy. 2. Digitally create money by adding balances to commercial banks' accounts. This newly created money flows into the economy through salaries, government contracts, infrastructure projects, or loans. So yes, governments can create money. But the question isn't whether they can, it's whether they should. Because creating too much money too fast has devastating consequences. The simplest rule of economics is supply and demand. In a park, there are 100 ice creams, each priced at 50 cents. If suddenly everyone gets more money, the demand for ice cream will rise. More people will want to buy it. But the supply is still only 100 ice creams. So, the seller increases the price from 50 cents to 90 cents. The result? People have more money in their hands. But the number of ice cream remains the same. No one is actually richer, everything just becomes more expensive. This is called inflation, where the value of money falls and the prices of everyday goods rise. Another example. Imagine if every worker's salary in your city doubled overnight. Sounds amazing, right? But landlords would double the rent, restaurants would double their prices, and transport fares would increase too. Suddenly, that extra money in your wallet doesn't feel so powerful anymore. History has shown us many examples where unlimited money printing completely destroyed nations. 1. Germany. Weimar Republic, 1920s. After World War I, the government printed massive amounts of money to pay reparations. The result? Prices of everyday goods jumped 10 to 15 times. People had to carry sacks of money just to buy basic items. 2. Zimbabwe, 2007 to 2009. The government kept printing money to cover expenses. Hyperinflation reached 89.7 sextillion%. The central bank printed huge denomination notes, but they were worth less than a cup of tea. 3. Venezuela, 2016 to 2019. When oil prices collapsed, the government printed more money to survive. The result? In 2019, annual inflation crossed 10 million%. People abandoned their currency and started trading goods or food instead. These examples prove that unlimited money printing doesn't make people rich. It destroys entire economies. You might ask, what if governments print just a little? Isn't that a solution? The problem is psychological. Once governments realize they can just print money instead of raising taxes or cutting spending, discipline disappears. Why go through painful reforms if you can simply press print? That's why most governments avoid printing and instead borrow money. Borrowing comes with interest, which forces them to stay accountable. Printing money, on the other hand, has no immediate cost, until inflation spirals out of control. Central banks like the US Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, or the Reserve Bank of India carefully regulate the money supply. Their job is to keep inflation stable, unemployment low, and economic growth steady. Blindly printing money ruins all three. So if governments can't print unlimited money, how do they fund massive expenses like wars, pandemics, or infrastructure? They have a few options. 1. Borrowing, issuing bonds. Governments sell bonds, essentially IOUs, to citizens, banks, and even foreign governments. Investors buy them because they're considered safe. Later, the government repays with interest. 2. Raising taxes. It's unpopular, but it provides steady income. The risk? Higher taxes can slow down business and consumption. 3. Cutting expenses, reducing subsidies, trimming military budgets, or delaying projects. Politically painful, but effective in stabilizing finances. 4. Foreign aid or IMF or World Bank loans. Countries in deep crisis turn to international organizations for help. These loans often come with strict conditions, like cutting public spending. All of these options may be painful, but they're far safer than destroying the currency by reckless money printing. Interesting thought, right? A country drowning in debt could just print money to pay it back. Problem solved? Not really. Creditors and investors would panic immediately. They'd realize the country is paying with fake value, not real wealth. Trust would collapse, credit ratings would drop, foreign investors would pull out, and the currency would crash. That's why even the richest countries, like the US, Germany, or Japan, choose to borrow and manage debt instead of simply printing their way out. Here's a fascinating question. If printing money is dangerous, can a country simply live without debt at all? The short answer is almost impossible. Every modern nation relies on debt because debt helps fund large projects like highways, airports, and hospitals. Government bonds provide a safe investment option for citizens and pension funds. Having some debt allows countries to build trust with investors by showing they can borrow and repay responsibly. The closest example of being debt-free was Macau, a small territory with casino revenues higher than Las Vegas. But Macau isn't a sovereign country. It's part of China. So, realistically, every country carries some level of debt. The goal is not to eliminate debt completely, but to manage it responsibly. Here's where things get interesting. What about the future? Could digital currencies or advanced technology change the rules? Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Many countries are testing digital versions of their national currencies. These make transactions faster and give governments more control. But even then, printing too much digital money will still cause inflation. AI and big data in monetary policy. Central banks are beginning to use AI to predict inflation, unemployment, and economic risks. This could make money supply management more precise. Cryptocurrencies. Some argue Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies could prevent reckless money printing because their supply is fixed. But they also come with volatility and lack of government control. So even in the future, no matter if money is digital, crypto, or AI controlled, one truth remains. You can't cheat the laws of economics. Printing money without real production will always cause inflation. Money itself is not wealth. It's just a tool to exchange real value. Printing too much destroys trust, collapses savings, and makes life harder for everyone. Real wealth comes from innovation, production, human skills, and productivity. That's why governments must balance their budgets with borrowing, taxation, and careful monetary policy. Next time you hear someone say, "Why don't we just print more money?" you'll know the answer. Printing money might sound like magic, but in reality, it's economic poison. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for more videos on business, finance, and economics.